Relationship economics really is a different perspective on the intentional, the strategic, and the quantifiable value of relationships. Everybody gets relationships important. Nobody measures it. Nobody says that it should be a strategic asset to us as individuals, as teams, and as organizations. So what we've done with relationship economics is really brought the hybrid of the art and the science of relationships together to help people accelerate their ability to get things done. Relationship economics is published by Wiley. For it, I interviewed 1,000 managers, directors, and executives, and I had a couple real intentional approaches to it before I embarked on the journey. Number one was, how do I help people understand the fundamental gap between knowing that relationships are important and measuring them, and really utilizing the value of their relationships in their daily tasks, in their daily functions, in the jobs they were trying to get done. So the book has not only hopefully good ideas, but people who know me will tell you I'm pragmatic and practical. And what I've done is tied these great ideas into how do we apply them? How do we actually put some of these ideas to work? Like a lot of other people, I've read some great books that I left scratching my head thinking, what can I do with this? Or how can I apply this to the things that I'm struggling with? One of the fundamental attributes, or one of the key points in the relationship economics umbrella is this idea of relationship currency. We believe over time you promise value. As that value is delivered, you start to exchange this idea of relationship currency. It's liquid, like cash. It has real immediate value, but it also has a shelf life. People may not, may or may not remember what you did for them 6, 9, 12 months ago. As you are recognized for delivering that value, and the fact that you did it, and they couldn't have done it without you, becomes to bear, you start to accumulate something we call reputation capital. Reputations, by definition, are comparable. They're comparing your reputation to somebody else's. Over time, the sum of all that becomes what we call your professional net worth. We all have a personal net worth, our assets and liabilities. What relationships do you have that can be perceived as an asset, and which ones are a liability? The fundamental, the foundational topic is this idea of relationship currency. It has 5 key attributes. Covey says the same thing, start with the end in mind. And we believe you should start with something we call relationship-centric goals. These are business goals you cannot achieve by yourself. You're going to need relationships to get things done. Next is this idea of pivotal contacts, individuals you need to accelerate your ability to get things done. Think about any challenge. You throw enough money, time, resources at it, you'll eventually get there. If you can identify who can accelerate my ability to get there, you'll be much more successful. Next is relationship bank. Forget meeting new people. What are you doing to get your arms around the existing relationships you have? I have 3,600 people in my active portfolio relationships. They come from 12 diverse buckets. They fit in 4 different business statures. Beginning of all the process, beginning the entire process, this idea of relationship currency deposits. What are you doing to invest in your most valuable relationships that makes asking a lot easier, makes asking is a lot more appropriate? The whole thing is built around this idea of strategic relationship planning that says you cannot leave things to chance. You got to be a little more systematic and disciplined in doing that. Social networking is actually critical, and the idea of social networking, which most people don't realize, has actually been around since the 20s and 30s. Technology is one sliver of social networking, and with the advent of MySpace and Facebook and LinkedIn and Twitter and a lot of these tools, social networking is really on the rise. What social networking technologies in particular are able to do, the promise and potential of social networking, is really to change the manner in which business individuals engage each other. It's the manner in which you influence, it's the manner in which you engage others, often without authority. Social networking can accelerate that. Social networking can help you really identify, do the heavy lifting, really identify the critical relationships you need and the critical relationships that you can nurture to get things done. One good example for you is I was recently in Dubai, and I scheduled 14 meetings with senior executives within 3 days, none of whom I'd ever met before, and I did it all through LinkedIn. So it can work if you know how to use the tools. The other really growing area is what we call enterprise social networking, which is really bringing the promise and potential of Facebook and LinkedIn and Twitter and some of these tools within the organization. And how do we start leveraging the collective ideas and perspectives and really experiences to get things done. The other topic that I speak often about is this idea of flight risk. We believe that an organization's most valuable asset really is its people and the relationships both within the organization as well as external to it. So fundamentally, when individuals leave, when top talent leaves, it's too little too late. So we've seen a lot of competency models. We talk a lot about identifying your high performers and high potentials. What are you doing to identify the pre-high potentials? What are you doing to really help them innovate your business model, your revenue model? What are you doing to nurture and grow them on the job in the most challenging, most difficult scenarios to really enable their personal and professional growth and really mitigate what we call flight risk? So flight risk is critical and one that every organization should think about. The other one is this idea of adaptive innovation. And we talked about social networking earlier. Adaptive innovation is this idea of blurring the line between consumers and producers. And how do we keep our finger on the pulse of our market much more proactively? So as we identify key leading indicators, we can adapt to that market need much more effectively, much more quickly. And we can innovate much more in real time than as an afterthought. So what happens is organizations go through this process of not invented here to invented everywhere. And how do we really take crowdsourcing, which is another great topic, to a very different level, to much more of a living model for the culture, for the organization. Relationship economics is critical in a turbulent economy or otherwise because beyond our products and services, we believe, most people will engage you, most people will buy three things. They buy the perception of the products or services that you sell. They buy the company that comes with the product or services, and they're buying you. They're buying you, the individual sales rep, you, the individual manager, you, the individual executive. And I would submit that your reputation as an individual, as a team, as a company in a market is as critical in people deciding which option to go with. I learned a long time ago from my dad that those who invest in the favor economy, those who understand the relationship economy and truly invest in it are the ones who are really going to elevate themselves above the market noise. In our current economy where certainly buyers have a lot of options, a lot of choices of if to do something at all and which option to go with, those who believe in and invest in relationships will often elevate themselves above the market noise, the market challenges. My speaking style is one of candor, is one of content. As you may know, my background, I'm originally from Iran, so my DNA in who I am and what I'm about, and I bring examples of being, I think, 5 and walking through the bazaars of Iran with my dad and how dad got things done through relationships. So my style is one of bringing personal and professional examples into the key concepts I want to convey. I've been told it's entertaining and it's engaging, but I'm a content speaker. So I do a good bit of due diligence in really understanding relationships are a standalone concept. What fundamental attributes do you want to apply these relationships to? And as I get to know the organization and your meeting or your event or your executives and what are you trying to do, what I do is really focus those applications towards your goals. So I'm candid, I'm hopefully engaging, but people walk away with a lot of actionable things they can take away and go apply into their work, into their jobs, into hopefully their relationships after a session together.